So I'm the guest on the channel. My name's Chris. I'm an Altergeist player. With new support coming out of Battles of Legend, they finally released Altergeist Pookery, which is good for Altergeist deck. It lets you go into Hex Steal on turn 1, which sets up that spell and trap negate. So Lightning Storm, Twin Twister, all that fun stuff. It doesn't hurt as bad as getting hit with it already. So now you don't have to hold as many traps when going first. And with Pookery and the Link 4, you also have a better boss monster in your extra deck to try to get through some of those boards. I think it'll be very fun to play. I'm not sure if it's going to be completely top, but it's definitely gone up another tier or so. It's going to be harder to fight. And I think it's going to be really interesting. Cool. So, this was Altergeist. Pretty explanatory. Let's just get started. First, you play triple Altergeist Multi-Faker. This is your main extender, the main part of your deck, the heart and soul, rather. So if you activate a trap, you activate a trap, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you special summon it, you can special summon any Altergeist monster from your deck in defense position. And there are a multitude of monsters you can summon. And yeah, Faker, pretty good card. Next, you play triple Altergeist Meliseek. This is like level 1 main starter of the deck. It's pretty decent. It does a lot of things. The first thing is that this card is, put to the graveyard. You can search any Altergeist monster. So you'd be more than likely searching out on Multi-Faker if you don't have one in hand, or any other monster you need in your toolbox. As well, this card can attack directly, and if it does, it can send one card your opponent controls. So going second, this card's pretty nice to have, and you don't really need your battle phase. But it's nice to have. Next, you play triple Altergeist Marionetter, excuse me. If this card is normal summon, you can set an Altergeist trap directly from your deck to the field. It's pretty solid in that regard, as well as they can target another face-up Altergeist card you control and one Altergeist monster in your graveyard. Send the one you control, but summon the one from your graveyard, and it helps you combo out a little further, and it was like turn 3 or 4. Next, I'll play double Altergeist Siliquist, or Silk for short. Basically, you can bounce one Altergeist card you control and bounce one card your opponent controls to their hand. Last of the Altergeist, or not last, next to Altergeist monsters, you play Altergeist Conqueror. Basically, if your opponent attacks, you can summon this card from your hand, negate the attack, and if this card is summoned, you can target one card on the field, or face up on the field rather. Negate its effects while this card is face up on the field. And next, a new addition to this deck, you play triple Altergeist Pookery. Basically, the main thing of this card is that you can, if you're using a Altergeist monster for a link summon of Altergeist monster, you can use this in your hand as well. So it's a microcoder for this deck, and it helps you, get Hex Steal turn 1, which is just pretty solid. As well as, if your Altergeist Link monster is link summoned on the field, you can add this card back to your hand. You only use that effect once per duel, but it's pretty nice just to recycle the Pookery back. And then next to the monsters, play triple Effect Veiler. You can play Ash in this deck, but it's not as impactful. Effect Veiler, Draw and Lock, I like the Veiler in this just to have another monster negate, because for the most part, my traps are more impactful, and I can just grind from there. As well as it's a Spellcaster, which is pretty nice. The only spells I'll play in this deck is triple Pot of Extravagance. You can play Pot of, what's it called? Pot of Prosperity, to search out individual cards you need, but in this deck, it's a control deck, so you want card advantage. And drawing those free 2 cards, it just sometimes takes you there to win the duel. Next, let's start the trap lineup, because you play a lot of traps in this deck. You play triple Spoofing. Once turn, you can shuffle one Altergeist card from my hand or field into the main deck and add one Altergeist monster. Now we have Pookery. This maybe can get cut down to 2, but I'm playing 3 just to have essentially another Altergeist monster if I don't have the right one in my hand at the time. As well as I can recycle Silk back into the deck so I can re-summon it back out with Multi-Faker if need be. Next, you play double Altergeist Protocol. With this card, This is essentially our what's it called? Multi-roll essentially. So, you know, not multi-roll, but like the effects of Altergeist cards activated on the field cannot be negated. So flipping this up with your multi-faker, that they try to ash that, it doesn't work. As well as you can send one other face-up Altergeist card you control, so not this card, any other one, and then negate a monster effect that activates and destroys. Next, play one manifestation. Before Pukri came out, we were playing 2 of this card to help us combo a little more. But with Pukri, comboing has never been easier. So this is just a good, nice one of now. The next key part of the Altergeist deck is triple infinite impermanence. Open, faker, and permanence, which wins games, going second. This plus any decent Altergeist in hand is gross, personally. And this is a good hand trap for this format as well. So, it doubles as that. Next, we're getting to a little bit of the spice. I personally play triple tribute. This is a high impact trap. It just wipes boards as well as you can do like cute things like summon Meliseek, flip Trench Tribute, get advantage off of that. And because you activated a trap, and you can chain multi-faker and summon it, which is hilarious to me. Next, we play, triple Solemn Strike as your Altergeist player and triple Solemn Judgment. This is just good traps to have. Good going first or second. Good going first. These are one of the cards you can side out, most definitely, as well as the Torrential Tributes. These are good side out options, in case they're not working in your matchup currently. Even the Veilers can be sided out, which is pretty solid. Most of the time I find me signing out those 9 cards, and with that, gives me flexibility to put whatever I need for my side deck into this deck. And then, like the last card I play, for your order, it says I only play 3 spells in my deck. This card's 100% fine. This card resolves on win most of those games. It's a really, really good card. All right. Next, we're going to get into the extra deck. So I play triple Altergeist Hexia. So it has multiple effects. The first thing is that any Altergeist monster this card points to, it gains that attack. So it gets kind of beefy and it helps me poke for damage. As well as I contribute any Altergeist monster this points to, and negate a spell or track that activated. Which helps me fight lightning storms and twin twisters and all that stuff. Or negate activation and destroy it, excuse me. And then if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, I can add one Altergeist card from the deck to my hand. So start tripping off these Hexias, and like late game, you start winning. This whole point of this deck is to grind out your opponent for the most part. You're not really OTKing your opponent. This is one of the things that this deck kind of struggles with, is OTKing, but it can OTK. On those rare occurrences. Next, I play 1 Prime Banshee. This can be argued at 2 now because Pukri is out. Basically, during my main phase, I contribute 1 other Altergeist monster this points to this, but summon another one from my deck. And this card is sent from the field to the graveyard. I can add 1 Altergeist card from my graveyard to my hand. So it's pretty solid length 3. I enjoy it so much, but I don't really summon it as often. But now with Pukri out, this will probably be coming out a lot more. This is a lot easier to use with a Hexia or with Meliseek plus Pukri to make Hexia, then add the Pukri back, then make that in a Prime Banshee. So you can climb to this card really easily. Next, you have Altergeist Memory Grant. It's a good boss link monster to have, link 4. During battle phase, you contribute 1 other monster. This card, one other monster I control. This card gains that attack of the treated monster's attack that was on the field. So if I don't play Nibiru, but if you do play Nibiru, you can contribute off Nibiru, and it gains 3,000 attack, and it's a 58 body, and it just beats over most things. Also, when this card destroys a monster by battle, you can destroy another monster your opponent controls, and then this card can attack again after that. So you can get, you can clear 3 monsters with this card alone, which is just pretty solid. And then If this card would be destroyed, I can banish one card from my graveyard instead, so it has protection on top of that. So this is a nice Altergeist boss monster that they added as well with Pukari, that just takes this, you know, deck to the next tier. Next, I play triple Summary Almirage. This is a decent card. I enjoy it because sometimes opponents want to pop my monsters. And if I summon this off a melee seek, I contribute this for the protection of popping my monsters. Granted, I can just play 2 and play another one of, you know, Link Kariba, which I'll play 2 of. You know, use melee seek to summon in, as well as like you use the battle damage effect to save yourself for a turn or 2. So you can play 3 of this and 2 of this, but I enjoy playing this. And there is going to be another Link monster you can play instead of these. What is it called? It's the Link 1 invoked player. I forgot what it's called by name. But it's a Spellcaster Light Link 1. Pretty solid. You can play with this deck, especially if you play Rivalry or any floodgates like that. The next Link 1 I play is Relinquish Anima. Going second, most players don't expect this card, especially now with Sword Soul running around, and you know, most Link decks is bombarding the field. You can just link some of this to the zone here and then steal that monster, and as well as search Altergeist cards so you can chain block with it, which is pretty cute. Next I play Lina. With, you know, against Sword Soul and Melis and Marionetta being light, I can make this and any other like monster I have on the field at the time, and then I can steal like their Shisha or whatever, and just have a free body on field, or I can just keep climbing up in links. The next Link I play is Nigirsu, the War Child's Warrior. This is good. It's out for Dragoons, DPE, just a slew of random other monsters you can deal with. And then the last Link I play is Access Code Talker. I haven't made it once yet, but you can make it, and it's pretty solid to have out because you know it can end games pretty easily. Next in the side deck, again the side deck depends on when you're playing around your locals, the tournament you're going to go into or whatnot. But this is like generic side deck I have for this deck. For the most part, I play triple Lancia because evenly match hurts, as well as some decks that do the banishing. I don't want them to do that. So, you know, having triple Lancia is pretty solid as a nice floodgate to stop that for a turn. Speaking of the devil, I play evenly match. This card's pretty solid at breaking boards, especially going second open. Evenly match Faker is pretty nice. And, you know, it's a decent board where that's a trap I can play. Next, the MVP of the format. Dimensional Barrier, another solid trap. Sword Soul, Drytron, even, what's the other one? Bird Up. This card is good against that. Phantom Knights as well. I mean, Phantom Knights could be argued. You just stop their XEs for the turn, but they can still, you know, make the links, and Rusty's a heck of a card. Next, I play triple Heavy Storm Duster. Yes, I know, crazy, playing back row removal in the back row deck. This does come up from time to time. That's why I side deck with it, as well as, you know, it's a decent trap and nobody really expects this to happen when they set their traps. And then the last, I play triple Anti-Spell in case, you know, I'm playing against any heavy spell matchup. So invoked, Sky Striker. This deck really comes in, or this card really comes in handy. Pendulums, they're starting to creep up a little bit. So yeah, and that's pretty much the deck profile. So I'll show you a little bit of a combo. You know, Melisseek plus Pukari, pretty solid. So starting off, you would normally summon a Melisseek here, and you would link it away. You would link it away and then use Pukari's effect, linking that away as well. For a Hextia, you know, you can go Melisseek chain 1, or you know, Melisseek chain 1, Pukari chain 2. Pukari goes back to the hand. Melisseek adds a Altergeist monster, and with that you have Melisseek engrave, and you have Pukari back in hand, and then a multi-faker here. So you can relink again with this to go into Prime Banshee. This way you can, if you have a trap in your hand, you can summon, Faker, summon Faker effect to add the Silk, and then quick effect, Prime Banshee, tribute off the Faker or the Silk, to summon Faker, summon the Silk, or you can tribute off the Faker to summon Concrete to get a negate out on the board. Keep in mind that this activates in the new chain. So chain this effect to a monster effect or a card effect doesn't negate that one per se, but if you preemptively activate the effect to chain with this out, this can catch your opponent off guard, which is pretty nice. But mainly, you want to sit mainly on the Hexia with Pukri and Faker in hand, because so you're gonna have other traps you want to play, and it'll be pretty solid. There's not much, combos with this deck because it's not a combo heavy deck, but that's one of the new combos you can do, as well as going into turn 3. By then you probably have the Hexia set up with the Faker and the Silk. Another thing as well is that you want to summon Faker to the middle zone and summon Silk here, just so you can still have its effect after bouncing back to Faker to attribute off the Silk for now. Spell Trap Negate, which is pretty solid. So you want to put this underneath the Hexia, just so you can have that negate for free. But like I said, eventually you're gonna end up maybe here at one point. So then you can just tribute off again with the Pukri in hand and go into the Link 4, and let's go from there. Win the game off of advantage. Yeah, like I said, there's not much combos with this deck, but that is one of the new ones you can do.